What up guys, Trey here with Speed Shield. On Wednesday, on the walkthrough, we showed you guys an M4 BMW that we were wrapping with that 1080 from 3M, Gloss Fierce Fuchsia. Well, here is the finished product. Pretty nuts looking color. We love it. It's really, really bright. Very intense. It is very fierce, as it says, and it is very fuchsia. So if you recall, you can look back at that video if you want to see some more of the talking points. But this client got this vehicle wrapped earlier in the year, and it was not the best wrap. You know, we're kind of used to seeing that, being in this business for 22 years. We do see that quite a bit, and we are here to help. The one major problem with the wrap was that it was not Fierce Fuchsia. It was another brand that we couldn't really determine what it was. The previous wrap shop had said they had to order it from overseas. We did some research. We couldn't really determine what it was. So we put our heads together with the client, and we both decided that it needed to be completely removed. We didn't know what the quality of that wrap was. You'd never know the longevity of films that you can't determine the brand. So we decided to just unwrap that vehicle, or unwrap that material, clean up the paint, and get some of this true 3M 1080 Fierce Fuchsia on there. So here is the finished product. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard us say before, we are sticklers on attention to detail. We try to be as meticulous as humans can be with wrapping these two-dimensional films in three-dimensional surfaces. So I always like to go through and kind of show you guys close-up finished product. As you can assume, bumpers are always the most technical areas of any vehicle. It's always good to see a company's finished product. And you know, coast to coast, if you are looking at getting a wrap, we highly recommend going to look at the finished product. The finished product is typically the best way to determine if a certain team has really good skills, or if it's kind of like your standard slap wrap, we call it. They slap it on as fast as they can, get it out the door, take your money, and then it's very hard to get anybody to service it afterwards. So we always say, do a lot of research. The time you spend doing research is very, very important and very, very valuable. Oftentimes we have people call asking for prices of things, and we say, hey, look, don't believe us that we're good quality. You gotta come see the finished product of what we're working on day in, day out. That is kind of how we've earned a reputation for doing things with a real keen attention to detail. And a lot of times we hear people say, well, you know, I just don't have time to come down there and look. But the only person that you are screwing is yourself. And we mean that. We're not here to take people's money. We're here to deliver a product, and we set expectations, and we want to deliver on those expectations. So, word to the wise, pound the pavement, hit the road, and go out, go travel around, see different shops, look to see what their finished products look like. I promise you, you will be very, very glad you did. And we can ensure that what you see is what you get. If you see them doing really good quality on someone else's vehicle, you can usually assume that they're going to do good quality on your vehicle too. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but you at least have a way better shot of getting a square deal whenever you visit a shop and see their finished product. We're big sticklers on having comprehensive coverage, making sure that all edges are wrapped, making sure we're designing any sort of overlap or seam to be artistic and to, you know, kind of make sense on where it's placed. The best way to do a wrap, the highest quality way to do a wrap, is panel by panel. So if you can imagine, some wrap shops take a piece of film and they go down the entire side of the car and then they just slice wherever there's a body gap, they just slice it. That doesn't give you enough to wrap inside these panels thoroughly, typically. It's good for like a speed wrap or doing an advertisement wrap. A lot of times that's standard protocol, and that's fine because you're viewing an advertisement wrap from 100 feet away, and it doesn't have to be really, really beautiful. But whenever you're doing a wrap like we are intending to have these wraps look like a paint job. So what we do is we do each panel individually. So we have a piece of film that goes on the fender with plenty of overage. We have a piece of film that goes on the door, and so on and so forth. We intend to have a nice overlap on each panel so that you can wrap all the way inside body gaps and it looks good. We can wrap all the way into wheel arches and it has complete coverage. We can wrap all the way in these seams in bumpers and quarter panels, bumpers and fenders, and so on and so forth. So it's always a wise idea just to make sure that you know what you're getting whenever you're shopping for a wrap. One other thing to think about, many times we talk people out of glossy wraps just because they really don't look as glossy as a paint job. Sometimes a lot of these colors, they only come in a glossy format, so you kind of have to put up with it. A bright color like this, you know, I'm not really sure if it matters much because, you know, it's pretty spectacular from any distance, and the finished product is pretty awesome. But we always like to have that discussion with clients. If you're going for something that's like user friendly, that's gonna last a long time, a lot of times satin finishes and matte finishes are better. But make sure that anyone that you approach to wrap your vehicle is having those conversations with you and kind of spelling out exactly the expectations and delivering on those expectations. So, more close-ups of edges. We make sure that we have comprehensive coverage up in every nook and cranny, all the way around these complex curves. Give you some more close-ups. And on these mirrors, what this material is S-Tech Dyno Carbon, and it is awesome. You guys might have seen some of the 3M or the Avery Dennison or some of the other wrap materials. They have a textured carbon fiber, but it definitely looks like a faux carbon fiber. This stuff is actually clear bra, and it is amazing looking. It has that dynamic look, so when you move, it really looks like carbon fiber, and it's glossy on the surface, so you don't have that textury look. And it's very difficult to scratch this stuff since it is a clear bra material, but looks very authentic, kind of looking like some BMW M mirrors should. So really cool looking. Together with the black wheels, this thing's looking pretty stellar. Most wrap materials you can usually expect to get between 5 and 7 years of outdoor durability. Some panels and some colors, like the upward facing panels, they do have shorter lifespan just because they get bombarded by UV, and that definitely is a regional protocol, meaning that some of the less hot, less sunny states have a much longer lifespan, and each brand of vinyl typically has individual protocols spelled out in their warranty paperwork. So it's worth knowing those too. Just ask your installer, they should know. So anyway, that is the 3M 1080 Fierce Fuchsia on this BMW M4. All ready to rock. As always, you guys jump on our website if you need any info, speedshieldUSA.com. Hit that schedule button if you want to come see our finished products. Have fun out there. Stay protected. Speed Shield.